Hello, and welcome to my storytelling space. A story is waiting. Join us, come in. And now, if you're ready, the tale will begin. There once was a boy named Budulinek who lived with his granny at the very edge of the forest. Now, every day his granny would go to work, and so every morning she would always caution Budulinek not to open the door. So one morning, she got up and she made this wonderful bowl of porridge, and she left it there for Budulinek, and she waved and she said, "Now, Budulinek, don't forget, don't open the door for anyone." And on she went. Well, now Budulinek played for most of the day, and all of a sudden there was a knock on the door. "Who is it?" he asked. "Oh, it's Lishka," said the sly old fox. "Open the door." Budulinek shook his head. "I mustn't," he said. "Oh, please," said Lishka, "please open the door. I'll give you a ride on my beautiful tail." Oh, would that not be fun, thought Budulinek. And before he thought any further, he opened the door. And in came Lishka. She went right over and ate all his food and took off again and went back into the forest. Now, when Granny came home, there was Budulinek sitting in the corner crying. He was so hungry. "Oh, you opened the door," said his granny. And she gave him a hug and gave him some more oatmeal, and they went to bed. Now the next morning, Granny headed off to work again, but she left him a lovely bowl of peas, and she reminded him, "Don't open the door for anyone." And so she went on her way. Budulinek played as best he could, and then all of a sudden, there was a knock on the door. "Who is it?" he called. "It's Lishka," she said. "Open the door." Budulinek shook his head. "No, not this time. No, I mustn't." "Oh, please," said Lishka, that sly old fox. "Oh, please, I'll give you a ride on my tail. Really, truly, I will this time." Budulinek thought about that. Wouldn't it be lovely to go for a ride on the back of her tail and feel the wind and the air and the sun? And so he opened the door. But did that Lishka give him a ride? No. She went straight in and ate up all his food and then went back into the woods. There was Budulinek, sitting in the corner again and crying. He was so hungry when his granny came home. This time his granny scolded him and said, "I told you, don't open the door." But she baked him some biscuits, and they had something good to eat before they went to bed. Now the next morning, she looked at Budulinek and she said, "Don't open the door." And off she went to work, leaving him with a lovely bowl of fruit and cheese. And Budulinek tried to find so many things to do that day, but again, the knock on the door. Who was it but Lishka, that sly old fox? And she said, "It's me, Lishka, let me in." "No, no, no," said Budulinek, "I'm not going to let you in. Go away." "Oh," said Lishka, "I promise this time. I really, truly do promise. I'll take you for a ride, and we can go around 3 times around your house." Oh, that would be wonderful, thought Budulinek. And so he ate up half of his food, and he opened the door a crack, and that Lishka came flying in, and she ate the rest of his food, and then she stopped at the door and she said, "I'll give you that ride. Hop on my tail." Budulinek was so excited. He hopped on her tail, and out she went out the door. Once around the house, twice around the house, 3 times around the house, but instead of stopping, she went straight into the forest, right to her den, and stuffed Budulinek down in the den with her 3 other little foxes. And she wouldn't let him out. And those 3 little foxes weren't nice to Budulinek. They nipped at him and they pinched him. Well, now when Granny came home, there was no Budulinek. And she looked everywhere, and she looked for days calling his name, but she couldn't find him. One evening she was sitting sadly at her kitchen table when the organ grinder came back past the house and began to play some music. And when she heard that music, she went out and she said, "Here's a penny, but please go away. The music makes me think of my Budulinek." And she told the organ grinder the story. And he said, "Well, I travel through the woods, you know, so I will keep my eyes and ears out for Budulinek." "Oh, if you find him, please bring him home," said Granny, "and I will make you the most wonderful meal." Well, the next day, as the organ grinder was walking along, he thought he heard a crying noise, a noise like a cry from a boy. And he listened carefully. It was. And then he realized he was close to Lishka's den. "Oh, that sly old fox has stolen Budulinek," he thought. And so he began to grind the organ and sing, "Budulinek, go, where can you be? Budulinek, I'm singing for you and for me." When Lishka heard that, she sent one of her little foxes out with a penny and said, "Tell the organ grinder to go away." So the little fox went out, asked the organ grinder to go away, but when she passed him the penny, he picked her up and threw her in a sack. Well, Lishka waited, but the organ grinder began to sing his song again, and so she gave the penny to another fox and said, "Go up and tell that organ grinder to go away." When the little fox popped up, the organ grinder grabbed him, stuffed him in the bag. Lishka waited for her fox to come back, but then she heard the music again. "Budulinek, go, where can you be? Budulinek, I'm singing for you and for me." So Lishka sent out her third little fox, and again, you know what happened. He took that little fox and put him in the bag. And he waited, and he waited. And then Lishka said, "Where are my foxes?" And out she went, and when she popped out of the den, he grabbed her and put her in the bag as well. He tied it up tight, and he called, "Budulinek, Budulinek, come out." Well, Budulinek was so happy to see the organ grinder. And the organ grinder said, "I'll take you home to your granny. But before I do," he went over and he got a long switch and he beat that bag to teach Lishka, the sly old fox, not to do that ever again. And then he took Budulinek back to Granny. And oh, when Granny saw him, she hugged him and kissed him and hugged him. And she invited the organ grinder in, and the three of them had the most wonderful meal. And Budulinek never, ever opened the door again. Now that is a story that comes from the area of the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, bye-bye.